What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, and today I'm gonna show you on how to create this beautiful environment scene as kind of a fun island, and it's gonna be a very easy video to follow. Okay, we are going to be using some Quixel megascan assets and some plugins that will enable to create environments much easier and freely and faster. Okay, so we show you how to make this step by step. Okay, it's gonna be very easy to follow, so let's get started. All right, so first of all we have to enable two plugins. Okay, so this will increase our workflow speed and make things easier. Okay, so we're gonna go into edit, plugins, and the first one that we are going to search is for landmass. Okay, so landmass is a plugin that will enable us to create the landscape itself, like to sculpt it, but using some tools like splines and auto materials that will basically make our life easier. You're gonna see later when we use it, so trust me, just enable this. So just go here, enable this. It will just give a warning that it's in experimental, just accept it. Okay, then a message will appear like to restart the editor. Don't restart it yet because we need to enable another plugin. So we're gonna search for water and we're gonna enable this first one, the water plugin. It's also an experimental, so another warning will pop up, but you say yeah, okay, and then the message restarting will also appear again. So now yes, click the restart editor. Alright, so when you have restarted the editor and you have those two plugins enabled, that you can just check if they have the tick on. And to do is get some Quixel megascan assets. Okay, so what we're going to do is just go into window and Quixel bridge. So basically because we're using Unreal Engine, Unreal Engine 5 now has this really cool feature when it has the Quixel library integrated into the engine, so we basically can get lots of free assets on it. So basically I've selected a few ones and that we're going to use today, so let's just go ahead and download it. First of all, you need to sign in with your Epic Games account, and when you're signed up, what you have to do is just find some cool assets. In my case, I have found some cool assets, so just go here into 3D assets, then we're gonna go into nature, then into rock, and then into query. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And we have some really cool cliffs that we're gonna use for the environment of today to build our small island. So first of all, I'm gonna use this simple query cliff. I think it looks really cool. So what we're going to do is go into the presets and select nanite. Okay, in my case I have already downloaded it and it's in my project, but what you have to do is simple. Just select nanite, click download. When it's downloaded, when the progress bar finishes, you'll be able to click this add button, so just go ahead and press it. And then I'm gonna use another cliff, and then we're gonna use this second cliff that is basically next to it, and we're gonna also select nanite, download it, and add it into a project. Okay, so now that we have that, we have to also get the material for the ground. Okay, so let's also hop into Quixel bridge and use in search bar here, search for rocky ground. Just click on search, and we're basically gonna use this one over here, the one that is has a lot of tiny details in it. So select the quality that you like. I recommend the highest quality, but anyway, download it and import it too into your project. Okay, so now we have everything that we need to build our environment. Let's go and create the scene. Just go up in here into file, say new level, and then we have some presets. So the one that I'm going to use is the basic one. Okay, the basic one doesn't have already the world partition enabled, but because this is a pretty small level, we are not gonna need to use it. So just select basic and just say create. All right, now the level has been created. Now let's go ahead and save it in our project file. So use Ctrl S, and I'm gonna create a new folder. So right click, new folder. It's gonna call levels, and then I'm gonna open it. In here I'm gonna put our map. Of course you can name it how you want, but there we go. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, because we already have the lighting set up and everything because we used the preset, we can just select the floor and just press super mirror and just delete it. So now what we can do is just go into the select mode over here and just select the landscape mode. So this will enable us to create the landscape. So you just press it, and then we have a preview of how big it's gonna be. In my case, that is pretty good. I'm just gonna leave it in 63 by 63 in a scale of 100, 100, 100, and 1 by 1 section, 8 by 8, and overall resolution 505 by 505, and total components, basically it will give us 64. So I'm just gonna leave this by default. I think it's a pretty good size. So the first thing that we're going to do is go and enable edit layers. This is very important too, because later we're gonna add the water plugins, an ocean, etc., like rivers. So we will need this to, to be able to create new layers on top of that. We're gonna select the material. So in the content browser, just go and find our megascans, surfaces, and the rocky one. Okay, in preview here I have it. So just get the material and just drag it onto the material here as the material instance that you see in here, right? So now that we have all that, what we can do is just say create, and there we go. Now we have our landscape being created over here, and it looks really cool. So if I go back into edit mode and save the sprite, and it's very important to save your level as you go, just in case it crashes or something. And now we can go into world settings, advanced, and set the game mode override, and you set it to be the third person game mode. So now when we press play, we can play as the third person character. Okay, so it's looking really cool. Now a quick thing I do is just increase a bit the tiling, because I think it's a bit too small, like the rocks, and you can see that it looks like if it's repetitive. It's like so repetitive on the map. So just double click on the material, and then what we can do is just go into the global section and tiling and offset, just enable this, and then in tiling X and Y we can put it in around 0.3, which this will just make it bigger. As you can see, of course it looks bad in the preview, but when we save it and we go back, now it looks much more better. It doesn't look as repetitive, and also when we add the hills and everything, it will look much more better. All right, so now let's go ahead and place our ocean. Okay, so we can have like a starting point of a base of the island. Okay, you're gonna see how better it's gonna look in a second. Okay, so what we have to do is just go up in here in the quickly add to the price. So just press that. I'm just gonna go into all classes and then just type ocean, and then we can see that we have our water body ocean. Just drag this into the scene, and when we have it dragged into the scene, you will see down here that we have some shaders being compiled. So I mean, depending on your PC, it will maybe go faster or slower, but just take your time. Okay, let it do its thing. We don't want to make it crash the editor or something like that. Okay, just go and get a coffee and see my other Unreal Engine 5 tutorials in my channel. I recommend that while it compiles the shaders. And you can see that the ocean has actually appeared and it looks really cool. Now make sure that you click this button here. It will be like an arrow to reset the location to 000. Okay, so now it's basically in middle of the ocean. So really cool, right? So first of all, I'm gonna make the island a bit more smaller and with some more cool shapes. Okay, so as you can see, if we select the water body ocean, we have some splines that appear. So we can actually click on those and actually start moving those, and then the ocean will adapt to it. Now a cool thing is that if we hold Alt and we move it, you can see that a new point has actually been created. So this is how we're gonna go ahead and start creating all the shapes for our cool island. Okay, of course you can give it any cool shape that you want. In my case, I'm just gonna just make it look a bit cooler like this. Alt drag here, make it a bit inner here like this, and you can see that we're already having a pretty cool shape. Just gonna do this on here, drag this like this, drag it out a bit, and there we go. All right, Ctrl Shift S to save everything, always guys, just in case it crashes. But you can see how already it's looking really cool. And of course we are having some differences on the terrain over here, as you can see. Well, this is a very easy fix. So with our water body ocean selected, is go into the terrain settings and in water high map settings, we're gonna see the fall off settings. Okay, so now in here what we can do is change the fall off angle to be something like 10. And you can see that now it is much more smoother, okay? So you can play around to have it look better, maybe like 15, 20, you know, you can play with it. But I think like this would look better, okay? Now we haven't some on the top of this island, but it's okay because I will be adding some mountains in a second. So it's really cool if we can also add a player start just to make it so you can just go into add all classes, player start, and there we go. So a quick tip, if you have an object selected and you press end on your keyboard, it will actually snap into the ground, so that's really cool. And now if we press play, it will always spawn the character in that location. So you can see already that we are getting a really cool island with some really cool ocean and water effects that also have underwater effects, and it looks really cool. You can see how the water reflects everything, so it's all really looking really cool. But of course, now let's add more things. So the first thing that we're going to do is just some mountains over here, and that's where the landmass will come in. So what we can do is just go back into the select mode and go into landscape. All right, and then what we can do is well, you can see that we have 2 layers over here. So this is really cool because actually you have already created a new layer for the water. So for example, if I were to hide the visibility, you can see that the water is still there, but the terrain, because basically the water deforms the terrain to the shape that we want, you can see that we can hide it. This is really cool, and you can play along with that settings. What we're going to do is go into the part where it says sculpt and go into blueprint. So in here, the landmass will come in very handy because we can add a type of brush, and it'll be like a spline system, pretty much like the ocean one. So we can kind of draw a mountain and add some properties into it and some functionalities. So the first thing that we're going to do is in edit layers, go and select the first layer that we have in here, right click and say create. So this will just create a new layer. We can double click to change the name, and I will say to name it to mountains. Okay, so basically we're gonna add the landmass thing on here. So you select mountains, okay, and now in blueprint brush, select this, and we have some custom brush. Okay, so the one that we're gonna use today is this custom brush landmass. Okay, so you'll select this, and then what we have to do is select a point in our island, okay, terrain, landscape. Okay, so you just click like in this part here, and you can see that we have a simple mountain added into our island. So now we can do the same as the other one. We can select different points on our spline and move them around. So let's kind of make a cool shape. Now, of course, right now it's just a simple triangle kind of shape. Of course, we'll add much more settings in just a moment. So just kind of select the points I want, and with Alt and drag it, you can create new points. So I'm gonna kind of use already the form and the shape that it created for me. So just go ahead and kind of create some cool shapes, and there we go, and just like kind of like that. Okay, so that looks pretty cool, pretty basic and simple. Okay, but you can see how easy it is to make mountains and stuff using the landmass plugin. It is much better than actually just paint it for a beginner to look nice, basically. Okay, so now as selected our custom brush, what we can do is go and we have all these settings over here. So we can go, for example, into the effects section, and we can go into curl noise. Now you will see how cool things, how cool this look. So first of all, we can add some strength into the cool one. For example, 10. Now you can see that it has created this weird shape. This is because I have added too much curl noise for the size that mountain had. So if I go and put this into 1, now this looks much better. You can see how shapes and deformations actually appearing really cool and very easy way. Now I think it's too much, so we can play with 0.3, 0.2, things like this, and now you can see how actually it's looking much better. Like if the actual mountain had much more detail and it's not just a normal ramp, you can see in here. So you can play with a lot of different values with it, on the strength too, things like this, and on cool one tiling, etc. Okay, now I'm gonna leave it like this. I think this looks pretty cool, but of course you can customize it as you want. So again, Ctrl Shift S to save everything just in case. We recommend it. So if I go and press play, you can see how the mounting is looking pretty cool. Alright, so now what we can do is, add more mountains over here. So cool thing is that we can just select this one and use Ctrl D, and basically it will duplicate it, and also add it into our layer of mountains automatically. And now we can rotate it, and now let's go ahead and put it over, and you can see how it is procedural. So actually when we move it, all the things will actually deform and stuff, making a cool shape. So I just put it around here, and now we can just select the individual points and move it around. We go like this, and there we go like this. There we go. So yes, it's looking really cool. And now we can basically maybe expand this one a bit. Actually, I'm thinking of maybe putting this one to fill up this part over here, and then I can select Alt, move this one. So sometimes it's a bit hard to kind of get the spine points, because sometimes you create them and move them around and you lose them. But it's okay, with some time you can just grab them again pretty easily. So you can make all the shapes that you like and you desire. So really cool, right? We're already having a pretty cool decent landscape. Now I'm gonna show you something really cool. So I'm gonna leave this this area, sorry, pre-plain, like it was more a beach. But of course it is too plain, looks not very natural, okay? So I'm gonna show you something that is really cool. So also a thing that we can do is, if we go and hide the layers, you can see that they actually disappear. So this is very important. If you always add new things, always create new layers to have everything organized. Okay, so we also change the alpha, but I recommend just setting it to a 1, honestly. Alright, so now what we can do is create a new layer. So right click, create layer, double click to change the name, and here again you say beach ground or something like that. Okay, so this one we're gonna select it, go into blueprint brush, and this is gonna be a custom brush, material only. You will see how it looks in a second. Select it, go and click it around the area, and now this will appear, and you're like, okay, what have just happened? Well, first of all, let's drag it below our mountains so it doesn't interfere with the mountains. Okay, that's the first step. So I have it up below. Also head below water. Okay, so now you've seen that actually nothing is actually appearing. It's like, okay, what is happening? Well, select this brush, which is the material only, and what we can do is go into material and set this into be let's see, what was the material? Select brush, and we can see that we have a lot of things. So we're gonna go into Gen Noise 1. So this will prepare some shaders. So just wait some seconds. Alright, so the next step to make it actually work, if not it will actually not work, is to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video. If not, it will not work, okay guys? Okay, now what we have to do is just select the beach ground, and I know that I said to be underwater, but actually it's gonna be over water. Now you can see that it actually has created some deformations in all the terrain procedurally. Right, so we have set the the brush material to be Gen Noise 1, and you can see how we added some deformations to look much more realistic. Of course, it's too much, so we can change everything on here. Detailing, the elevation scale, etc. So first of all, the elevation scale, I'm gonna put it like 200 or something. It's gonna be much smaller. Now you can see now we have some small hills. Now maybe gonna make it a bit bigger, maybe 500, so it actually looks a bit better. But we can play around with this. Detailing too, if we increase it, we have like more curves, and if we decrease it, we have more smoother height. So 0.2, I think it was pretty cool. And now the octaves, you can see if I start decreasing it, it is like with basically less kind of detail, we can say. So I'm gonna leave that at 7. I think it worked pretty cool. But yeah, you can see how everything is looking, and you can play around with the elevation scale and with the tiling to make it look how you want. But now you can see that we have some kind of hills moving, so it looks more like a beach. So you can see that actually my player spawn has actually been going under the ground over here. So just we have to go into edit select mode, and then we can select it and put it up, and then we press Ent on our keyboard, it will snap. So we press play right now. You can see how the beach is already looking so cool. So now we can start actually placing our Quixel assets. So just go and find our megascans in our content folder, 3D assets, and we can start finding some cool clips. So for example, let's start adding it into here. So just go ahead and drag it into the scene. There we go, and start rotating it. Okay, so this is gonna be much bigger. So very important is to make sure that we double click the static mesh. We have to have nanite support enabled, okay, and apply the changes, of course, because we imported it as a nanite before in Quixel Bridge, if you remember. We don't have to do this, but just make sure, just in case, because sometimes may not work, whatever. But yeah, so we can actually add some really cool effects over here. So just drag this over here, place this over here. There we go. And you can start filling the mountains like this to add so much more detail. And because we have nanite enabled, well, there's no problem if we add thousands of them. Like, the performance is not gonna be any problem. So also let's take another clip on here to add some variety. We go and we can make it much bigger, and we can kind of place it over here like this, a bit more like this. Also like the local point over here, so you can change from a pivot from the world and to the object. I recommend working on the object because you have like the axis of the objects, so it's much easier to work with. So yeah, you can kind of place it as you want over here. There we go. And you can kind of feel the below ground of the mountain like this. Now I know that this is a very tedious process and it might take a lot of time and effort, but that's pretty much level design. I mean, I'm not a level designer, I'm a game dev, more of a programmer in this case, but I do know some things about environment art, and it is that it can take a lot of effort and time, as you may know. So yeah, so just take your time to make it look pretty beautiful. So now let's go ahead and find, now we will finish up this later, but let's find a cool material for the mountain, okay, like a more rocky one. So go into edit, window, Quixel Bridge, and let's find a cool material. So now in the Quixel Bridge, we can find a really cool material. So we can go into surfaces over here, and now we have a lot of categories. So for example, we can go down until we see rock. So just click on it, and we can find some really cool stuff like cliff or rough, or also just a lot of them on here. So we can just scroll down, and you can see that we have a beach cliff that looks really cool here, and also a layered beach rock. I'm gonna go with the first one because it looks a bit more of a Hallway style. So select the highest quality or whatever you want. Just press load and wait for it to download, of course. Once it's downloaded, you can just press add, and it will just take a few seconds to add into project. And now in surfaces, we can see that we have our beach cliff material. So we double click to open it, and you can see how it actually looks really cool. So now that we see that everything is fine, what we can do is go into landscape and go into paint. Now the thing is that if we go into paint and we go, for example, into the actual mountains, you will see that we don't have any options to paint any material or texture. Well, this is because we actually have to add some layers into our material. Okay, so to add some layers into a material, what we have to do is go back into our rocky ground material that we created before, go a bit down, and then go into the parent, which is the MS surface material. Okay, just double click this and just wait some seconds, and then just drag this over here. And now you see that we have, well, tiling, textures, adjustments, etc. Well, what we have to do is just get the final end on here, right click, and just type layer, landscape layer blend. Just put that one here. Now select it, and in the details panel we can add a new layer. Well, the first one is going to be just normal sand that we already have, and then we can add another one, which is going to be the rock for the mountains. So now this one can go into sand, and this one into rock. Sorry, into the end. Now you can see that our material has actually gone black. Well, if we now go ahead and apply it, and we go back into our map, you now can see that we have 2 layers over here, and the entire landscape has gone black. This is okay. So what we have to do is in our first sand landscape that already has a material, so we will have to apply it to the second one too. So just go into this crate, and then just say weight blended layer, press it, and then you can just save it whatever you want. In my case, it's gonna be in this folder that I created for me. Just say save. Make sure there's no spaces on the name, and now you can see that we have what we had before. But now we can also paint the rock. Now the rock doesn't have any layers, so we go here, it doesn't have anything. So just right click, set material attributes, just plug the end over the layer rock, and now selecting the node, we can just add a base color. So this will be the base color. Just go into space, and then we go into surfaces, beach cliff, and we can get the albedo, which is this one, the first one. Just apply the RGB into base color, and now we actually were to apply and go back to the map. You will see that now a rock actually appears here, and we can actually paint, and there we go. You will see that we have kind of the texture here. And of course, on the strength, it's increase it, the brush size maybe a bit smaller, and the fall off a bit smaller. So now we actually now paint, and you can see how it's looking. Now of course the tiling, it's absolute garbage, so we can go back into our material, and we can just get the tiling from this material and just plug it onto the UVs. Yeah, okay, great. Now if we were to apply, go back here, you can see now the tiling is actually like the same one as the sand. Of course, it doesn't look really good, so we can do more things. Go back into our material attributes node. We can just add this one and go into the normal. Where's the normal? Here we go. And now go to space, get a normal map, drag it, and plug the RGB here. Alright, but now you can see that actually we have it on here, and we actually can paint in the layer of mountains. So now we can start painting all this like this, for example. So it takes time to make it look good, but you can see like that we kind of have something already. Okay, so we were to do this, now our mountains will be looking different. Now to make it look even better, I think that we can do is go back into our sand, and in tool strength decrease this, increase the fall off, and now we can like paint sections of sand slowly, and this will just give much more of a like kind of details and realism into terrain, so it doesn't like all the same color or whatever. So just kind of paint this over here like this. There we go. So now it looks much more better. So we can do this exactly with our cliff over here, and so just select the rock, and it will be actually the strength higher and the fall off smaller. And we can paint this again over here like this, like this. There we go. this. I'm making it quick just for the tutorial, okay, just to show you all the things that you can do. But of course you should take your time to make it look much more better. So yeah, it doesn't have to look exact, but now we can go back into our sand, increase the fall off and decrease the tool strength, and also now paint this kind of details and decals on another materials on the mountain, so it looks much more realistic. Maybe increase a bit the strength. There we go. So you can play like you would over here. There we go. Important thing, Ctrl+Shift+S to save everything that we have done up to date, just in case again it crashes or something like that. So let's just wait a second. All right, yeah, so you can add the detail that you want into the mountains. Okay, so we can do pretty much the same with the rock. Just kind of paint some parts over here. Now a cool thing that I recommend doing is change the shape and to be a bit different. You can have different like patterns and stuff. In my case, I'm just gonna do it like simple, because I don't have any material texture. But as you can see, we have actually some things that we can use. But if you have a kind of a material like texture to add some shape into it, you can use it. But yeah, I don't have some. So yeah, you can do the same with this. Just add some like this to make it look a bit more realistic. I mean, from the top it looks better, too circular. But like I said, if you have like a shape that you want to add into your brush, it will look 10 million times better. But because the tutorial is going to show you the power that you can do, and because you're going to be playing from the ground, it doesn't really notice it. So yeah, you can just paint around here like this. There we go. Alright, so that looks really cool. Let's save everything, and now we can go back into select mode. Just press play. You can really see how everything is looking really cool. Now you're probably wondering, well, this rocks, what you can do, like it's just one line of rocks on here. Well, this is to show you how you would build a mountain properly, and you will need to do one by one, filling up the shape of the mountain, etc. Now of course not everyone will be good at it, and I'm not good at it and it takes too much time. So what I can do is just move these rocks that I built earlier into this parts over here, so we can add details on the coast ground here instead of the mountain, because I think that a lot of you guys will kind of struggle putting it on the mountain. Also I will struggle and it takes a lot of time. So yeah, so I just did it to show you like how you would build a AAA mountain, let's say. So we like one by one rocks, and also now with nanites you can do it without any worries about performance. But you can now start just adding some grounds over here, duplicating, rotating it like this, and placing it over here, and just making it. We can change the snapping, so disable it on here, and now we can increase it, decrease it a bit how we want. I can duplicate this one too, and just put it around over here. And then this parts over here, well, we can cover them with more megascans with the same one, and kind of smaller, stretched a bit. It doesn't really matter if you stretch stuff, as long as you done the format 100%, you know what I mean? So this takes a lot of time, okay? But you can kind of, you can see that you can kind of hide these intersections. I'm not gonna do it exactly 100% good, but you can kind of see how it would look. And let me just add another one over here and just make it look really cool, like this. Okay, and there we go. So now we have kind of a block. Also I'm seeing that this one kind of goes like this over here, can maybe add some more things over here, but it's okay. You can kind of see how it will look. So now what we can do is also organize a bit the scene. So you see in the outliner that, you know, we have everything just kind of one thing here, one thing, another thing here, and it doesn't look good. So we can just select our landscape brush manager from the water, okay, and the water zone here too. So thing with landscape and water, and go here, create a new folder, and just call it landscape. And then you can hide it, and now it looks much more better. And you can select all this and put it to rock 1. So there we go. And now we have everything organized. So now if we want, we can duplicate this rock. So we can just right click and duplicate hierarchy, and we'll create the rock 2, and we can just go ahead and move it around here, rotate it to bring some differences, and maybe make it bigger. But because it is separate, it will deform it, so actually I'm not gonna do that. So you can actually get it also, like for example, a blueprint that will already have this shape in the blueprint, and you can just drag it like this. But for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna show it how to do it like this. So yeah, you can basically just play around with it, adding lots of rocks and lots of everything. Ctrl D, best shortcut ever. And you can use type. There we go. On everything that you want. I mean, you can change maybe the height, but yeah, you can make it look much more better. And you can see already, if we hit play, like it is adding some more really cool effects into it. Yeah, now you can see that the intersections here is because I did it fast. But if you went ahead and tuned it a bit better, it will look much better. But yeah, you can really see that with just a few rocks, you can make it look much more better. And because we have nanite on all our rocks, we can add as many as we want, and everything will be working with the best performance ever. So you change this here, drag this on here like this, make it a bit higher, change this here, and there we go, like this. And now it looks really cool. So let's add even more things. So we want to add some like rocks in the ground, etc. So let's go ahead and open again our friend window, Quixel bridge. Now we're gonna get some really small rocks, and we're gonna go ahead and paint them, okay? But we can do two things, and it's paint them manually with a brush or procedurally. That I will also show you in a second how you can paint grass procedurally, okay? So let's get some rocks and some grass. Alright, so now we can search rock, and let's just find some really small rocks and stuff. So you can see, for example, this one's small forest rock, nanite, download. And we can just use this one, then we can get also another one to add some variety. But again, you can kind of decide. Maybe you can use, for example, the sandstone that maybe fits a bit better for the environment too. So when it's downloaded, just click add, and now we can go inside the sandstone builder and download this too. There we go, and just add it too into the project. Alright, so now we can go into 3D assets, and you can see that we have the things that we imported, and you can see the small rocks over here, how they basically look. And also, well, first of all, let's check also the sandstone thing, how it basically look. And you can see that the materials are loading, and it also looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna show you first of all how to paint it manually, and then like some rocks on the ground, and then I will show you how to procedurally place them in the materials, okay? Alright, so go into select mode, landscape, sorry, foliage. So in here we can also, you know, put of course trees and stuff, but we're gonna use rocks for now. So get the sandstone, drag it in here, and then find the small forest rock and just drag it in here. So now make sure that these two are checked. So this is the things I'm gonna paint. Now in the sandstone rock, in the, let's see, what was it, in set alignment offset, I'm gonna put like -2 or something. so it's a bit more on the ground, so it looks a bit better. So if I were to now paint this, you can see that there's lots, well, first of all, there's, you know, preparing the shaders, but there's too many rocks, of course. So we can change the paint density to be 0.1. 0.1, there we go. And we can delete all this and now paint them, and now there's less. Now I'm seeing that basically the small rocks are too small, so in the scale X, yep, you can just put this to be like 3 and 3. There we go. And you can paint them, and now they're a bit bigger. Cool. So we can also click on the sandstone, and in density we can put this onto 10, and in rocks we can put this into 500. So now there will be more small rocks than the sandstone stuff. And now we start painting, you can see all the things that appear. Now of course, I'm gonna make it a bit smaller, 2 and 2 maybe, the rocks. Now of course there's appearing too much. Now that's better, yeah. So we can make the brush size even bigger to paint more at once. Maybe too much big. And then in the paint density 0.01. I know that is a crazy number, but sorry, painting this. And you can see now how we paint, and because everything has nanite, well, we don't have any problem with, there we go, this. So you can see how all the rocks, small rocks, are appearing. And now we can disable the, so if we want to only paint one, you can disable this one. Select, so make sure it's not checked. Get the other one, put like 0.1 here, and then you can start painting more of this ones, right, of the big sandstone rocks. So if we hit play right now, you can see how the level is looking much more better and much cooler with more details on the ground. So really cool. So you can paint and decide how you want to do it. Now let's add some grass into it. So again, go into window, Quixel bridge. Also Ctrl+Shift save everything just in case it crashes, because now we have advanced a lot into a scene. Now we can search for grass. Now there's a lot of types of grass that we can use. In my case, I'm gonna use the first one that appears, but it looks, I think, really cool and pretty tropical. So we can just say high quality. Now of course in 5.03 that I'm in the version right now, Foliage doesn't have nanite, so we cannot go crazy on the foliage spawn. But now there's unloaded, you can add it into the project and just wait a few seconds. Alright, so now we can see all the grass that we have. Of course, we can use some of them. So actually, already we have some foliage meshes created, a static mesh foliage that Quixel already created for us. So it's gonna be much easier for us. So we don't need to create all of this, because I'm gonna show you how to appear procedurally. Of course, you can do painting like I did, but you can do it that it will appear in the material. So we can go back into our material that we did before. I'm gonna delete this note that I just was left up below there, and we can just right click and select grass, and we can see this note which is landscape grass out. Select it, and then in grass types you can add the grass type that you like. Now unfortunately I'm just seeing that basically we have to create a landscape grass type, and the one that we have created by Quixel doesn't work. But it's okay, because now we can just right click onto foliage and landscape grass type. So you can paint with these ones, but if you're gonna place them particularly in the landscape, you have to do a new one. So it's gonna be grass, landscape grass type. Yeah, I know, the name is crazy. We can just open it, and also we can add some of them at the same time, like a lot of them. But now just search for grass, and we have a lot of them. So we can just get the first one that we see. Now we can tune it in later. Let's go back into our here, and now we can select the one that we created. So now what we have to do is right click and assign a layer to this grass to appear. Right click, therefore layer sample, landscape layer sample, plug this in here, and now in this node just put the name that we created, which is sand. So if we were to apply this, now let's hope that it won't crash, because there's a lot of maybe grass that will appear at once. You can see all the grass that has appeared. Now this one are compiling shaders, and this one kind of have shaders on up. So we definitely have to change. Okay, now is everything loading? There we go. So you can see that something weird is happening. We are having like two types of grass. First of all, a really beautiful grass and a very ugly grass. And now you can see that, first of all, this distance is very small, right? If I were to hit play, the grass appears and everything is looking beautiful, but only until there. Now it's a bit laggy, you can see, because, well, they have a lot of grass. So you just enter on here. Now, what we have to do is change the grass density. You can place 100, for example. Now there's much less. So basically about the distance of that they appear and disappear. And this is the start cool distance. So I don't know why it is to 1000, but let's put this into 0. So now you will see that nothing changed. Really weird. But you can see the end cool distance on here. So if you were to put, for example, 5000 here, now it will actually reach like, you know, longer distances. So basically, I don't know what is happening. Honestly, I don't know. The first time that this happens, that there's like two types of grass appearing. Now, here I'm just selecting my type of grass. This is one, so I don't know what is happening. But basically, they just select another type of grass. Okay, so yeah, you can see that they have lots. So I don't know if there's anyone without a lot, but let's try to, you know, select this one, var1 lot 0. Save it, go into the map, and no, it actually still happens. So yeah, I don't know why this is happening, but basically, you know, where to play. You can see that there's actually some really cool grass appearing and disappearing that you can see. Now, I don't know why there's like two grasses appearing. Honestly, I've searched for like 20 minutes and there's something that I don't get to know what is happening, but it's okay. Now you know how to place grass on basically on different layers. So that is really cool. So you know, we can do that, or we can paint it. So let me show you how to paint it. You can use disable the node. If you were to apply, you can see that the grass would disappear. And well, I don't know why it is compiling shaders now, but now we can go back into foliage. And well, we can see that all the foliage has actually been added. So that's cool. So we can go into paint, and here we go. Enable some grasses over here. Have painted, and we can disable the rocks too, and we can paint, and you can see how it actually appears. Now you can see that the cool distance, where is it? Cool distance, the max. I don't know what's happening, but it's not being able to show up more further away than that. I think it's because of the lots. Even though I tried disabling the lots, nothing happened. So I don't know what's happening. But yeah, you can see how cool it's looking with the grass on. You can paint it. Now of course the density is quite low. There's something like a few grasses over here. Now it's cool. But you can experiment it as you would like. So we can just get the paint density, put in more, and we have some more grass on the ground here. You can see how everything is looking really cool. Alright, so nearly to end the tutorial here, I'm gonna add just a river going across over here, something like that, really cool. So what we can do is just Ctrl-Shift, save everything, just in case. Go into quickly add to the project all classes, and then you search for river and water ocean. Wait, there we go, and just click it and drag it into the scene. There you go. So basically right now it will be compiling shaders, so it might take a while, but you can see already how there's a kind of a path being created. So hopefully right now you'll be learning how to create simple landscapes, adding rocks and painting them, also like grass, also add them procedurally into the material itself, so you have to paint them and things like that, and add the rivers. So yeah, so just go ahead and move the river in the places that we want. So you can see how it is looking really great, the connection. So for example, we can put it around here. There we go. So we'll go around there, and then there we go, and then it goes kind of back into the ocean. You can see how everything actually merges, and there's a seamless transition between the river and the ocean, and that is so freaking cool. So yeah, you can have you can build rivers very easily. Also you can build lakes, but yeah, you can see how it looks absolutely astonishing. Really cool. Really cool. Alright, the last thing that I'm gonna show you is some to just place some fog on the scene. So we go into the exponential height fog. You can go a bit down and you see this volumetric fog. Just enable this and you can see that there's some more fog that has been added to the scene. And now you can see the albedo. Right now it is just white, so I recommend look into the sky, just picking the color and selecting the blue of the sky, so basically have the same color as the atmosphere, you know. And now you can just go back to the exponential high fog and play around with the extinction scale. The more will appear with the view distance too, like where it basically will it start to appear, etc. We can also play with the fog density, more or less. So yeah, you can experiment with that, and also the fall off, which is kind of the height of the fog. Also a thing is that you can actually change the altitude, like making it bigger or smaller. So you can play around with that. Alright guys, so that was the tutorial. If you found it helpful and useful, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe right now to the channel. I have lots of Unreal Engine 5 tutorials, so if you want to check it out, go ahead. If you want to see any other Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, let me know in the comments down below. Now with all that said, bye bye.